They say in life we make choices that can completely change the course of our life. What are one or two choices that you have made that has made the biggest impact on your life, be it positive or negative?
So off the cuff, I can think of 4. I know you asked for 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll run through them quickly because I'll try and
Doesn't have to be
half
quick.
the time.
No, it's all right.
The first decision made would be probably going travelling. When I went with my friends over to Europe for a year.
How old were you?
About? Year roundabout, early 20s, early to mid 20s, maybe 23, 24. That sort of lit a fire for me as far as wanting to see as much of the world as I could. It also opened my eyes up to there's life outside of a little bubble that I grew up in. I guess it made me more accepting of people from all over. All walks of life, all races, all colours, all everything. It made me grow as a person in 1 year, probably more than I would have grown in 1 year working at home. That was number 1. Number 2 was moving to Byron, making the decision to
So you lived in Melbourne
Yeah,
to
I
begin
lived
with?
and grew up in Melbourne. So I came back from Europe. I worked in Melbourne for a couple of years and then I found myself in a bit of a rut. I wasn't really going anywhere. Work was just work. I had a great social life. I had great friends around me, but yeah, I just sort of didn't seem to be, I seemed to be in a bit of a rut. And I think maybe the travel bug also had sort of messed with me at that stage. So yeah, I decided to, with a mate, move to Byron Bay, and that was a big decision to leave everything behind and leave the family and friends behind and go up there and start a new life. But it was a great decision. It was a really good life change that I did. Again, growing as a person, really not really cutting the cord of family and stuff like that, but really I didn't want to be the person who ran back home with my tail between my legs. So it was really forging out a life for myself with as little help as possible. Mm-hmm. It made me, again, grow as a person, mature, and
doing it on your own.
Yeah, it was doing it on my own, and like I still had family and friend support when I needed it and stuff like that, but the goal was to really sort of forge my own path, I guess, in that sense, which then led into the third big decision, which was buying the house that I bought up in Byron. Mm-hmm. It was a beautiful house, and that came from the fact that basically we got kicked out of our the place we were renting at a time, a very busy season. It was summer in Byron. Got kicked out because the owners wanted to take over it, not because we were shit tenants. Basically, there was nowhere to rent. There was nothing on the market. So, but there was houses to buy, and at that stage, I was pretty sick of having to basically the unsurety of renting, not knowing whether you were going to get another lease and be booted out of a house. So I decided to buy a house, and long term, it was the best decision that I ever made. Mm-hmm. It was a struggle to begin with. Interest rates were a lot higher than they are now.
Yeah.
I was working 2 jobs pretty much to pay for rent.
Mm-hmm.
I had people living in the rooms that I didn't necessarily want there, but I had to pay the rent.
Yeah.
Pay my mortgage.
Yeah,
so I had to pay a mortgage, and it was
tough going for a while.
It was tough going, but again, once that led to that did lead to the fourth decision, which was leaving Byron. Basically, I was in the house, I was paying the mortgage, I was working 2 jobs, and I was sort of realising that the life change that I'd moved to Byron for wasn't actually happening. I'd moved there to sort of get away from a busy lifestyle and have more of a beachy lifestyle and whatnot, and then I realised I was working 15-hour days to try and pay my mortgage. Mm-hmm. And the realisation was that if I actually wanted to make money, I had to leave Byron, because Byron, you just couldn't get ahead. Like you could keep your nose above water, but that was about it. So the decision was the fourth one, move to WA and get into the fly-in fly-out industry, where there was actually decent money to be made. And which then also led to renting the house out, which basically meant for the most part, the mortgage was getting paid through renting the house out. So yeah, it was a sort of a double good decision, because I started earning good money, and also mortgage was getting paid by my renters. So yeah,
Good move.
4 good moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a snowball thing that led to where I am now, and yeah, but they were the four major decisions that really have impacted my life dramatically.
And they were really big decisions.
Yeah.
You could have stayed in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Who knows where that could have led?
Yeah, they were 4 big decisions, but they were 4 decisions that have proven to be really fruitful.
Good choice.
Thanks.
Getting a little bit into
The nitty-gritty.
nitty-gritty. What is your faith? Do you believe in a God, energy, science, or any other spiritual concept?
I believe I am God. No, I don't believe in a God. I was brought up Catholic. Went to a Catholic primary school, high school. Very, very religious upbringing. Up until a point where my parents said, "You guys are old enough to make your decision whether you go to church or not," and that was probably the last time I stepped foot inside a church. But I guess definitely not a religious person these days, but I do have, I think the Catholic religion did teach me good things. It taught me a bit of faith in people, I guess, more than anything. Catholic taught me to have faith in God, but the teachings, because I don't now believe in a God, taught me to have faith in people. I'm more of a energy person, so I believe in good energy and bad energy, and when I feel bad energy, I try and steer away from that. I try and bring good energy to life and to situations, and I do 100% believe that good energy creates more good energy. So I try, and it's obviously, I'm human, so it doesn't always happen. I try to have more good energy than negative energy in my life and also around me. So if I feel negative energy, if I find that somebody brings more negative energy, then I'll distance myself from that person. I've got no issues with cutting ties with someone who has negative energy and I guess sucks my batteries of good energy. So yeah, I'm not a spiritual person, but I do believe in energy, and yeah, good energy is good. Negative energy is bad.
I'm with you on that one, my darling.
Yes.
I do believe in energy myself.
Yeah, and that you also believe I'm God?
Talk about that one later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just establish which God, which God I am on the day.
The big...
The big Buddha. He's always smiling though.
He is. Looks like
he's
likes...
jolly.
Okay.
Yes, more questions.
More questions. What do you think the meaning of our lives are?
I'm not a very spiritual person. So I don't know if I can even answer that question, to be honest with you. I don't delve into that sort of philosophy of anything. I just live life. I don't question it.
Live life, love.
Live life, love, peace, brothers. No, I don't question that. I just live
every day.
every day as it comes.
Okay.
I don't delve any deeper in thought into
Yeah.
what our existence here is for. Procreation. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question on what the meaning of life is. I think it's 86.
The meaning of life is 86?
Yeah, 86.
I'm going to go with 19 because that's my number.
Okay.
Whatever that means. Okay. Do you have any regrets in life?
I think before my dad's dad died, I feel like I didn't spend enough time around him.
Okay.
And I do regret that. But back in your 20s, hanging out with your grandpa probably wasn't that cool. But in hindsight, and looking back at it with a bit of age and so much wisdom, you can look back and go, I should have probably been around a little bit more. But as far as regrets go, I guess that comes with the negative energy as well. I think regretting things too much does bring an element of negativity to your life. I think regretting something, if you regret something, I think you haven't learned that much. I think
Yeah.
if you've done something wrong and you've learnt from it, then you shouldn't regret it.
Yeah.
I think if you have done something wrong and you've learnt something from it, it's a positive.
Yeah.
You know, you can look back on it and just go, ugh, that was icky.
Yeah.
But I think if you regret it, you haven't learnt. So
Yeah.
you're better off. Everyone's going to make mistakes. Everyone's going to do things that they're not proud of or something like that. But learning from it is probably the lesson to take something out of that.
Yeah.
So don't regret it. Learn from it.
I've only got one regret in life,
What's that?
is getting the COVID vaccination. That's the only
Sorry
regret.
about that. That's on me. In hindsight, and I think there's probably about a massive portion of every population in every country would probably regret that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we were given the option of get it or not have a job,
Yeah.
and that when you've got mouths to feed and mortgages to pay and all that sort of thing, it was. I regret getting it as well. Now.
There you go. You've got a regret.
Yeah.
But that's
But
something,
no, I can't.
That's something you.
Yeah, so I guess I don't regret having got it because
Yeah, you had.
I had to get it.
In the moment,
Like
yeah.
I really didn't have. We had Reed. We were looking after Reed. I was basically financing our life, and I couldn't just quit a job and go find another one. And there wasn't, the way things were, there weren't that many jobs, and there certainly weren't that many jobs that would take you without a vaccination.
Yeah.
So it as much as the absolute cop out of the government saying you had the choice, you never really had the choice. So
No.
I regret that we didn't have the choice to do it because I don't believe
Yeah.
we did.
I definitely
You had
got
the
away.
choice, yeah, but-
got away with not doing it, but.
We wanted to go to Bali.
Oh, big regrets.
It was
Anyway.
a good holiday, though.
It was a good holiday.
Yeah,
To wait an extra year, more or less.
yeah.
That's my only regret.
Fair call.
Yeah. What do
You learn a lesson from it. We will never do that again.
hope we'll never have to do something like that again?
I don't think we'll ever have to do something like. I don't think the world will accept it.
Sure about that either.
Yeah,
But
we'll see.
we'll see.
I guess we'll see.
Hopefully we won't have
I
to
guess
see
the
either.
only future will tell us that.
What is the best advice someone has given you before?